Hey guys, how's it going? Seán here. So the clip that you just heard at the start of this video was from a short little Instagram video I uploaded over on my page. And I actually got quite a few messages from people wondering like how I produced, the 20-second clip. So UJAM Instruments actually reached out to me wondering if I wanted to check out one of their virtual drummer plugins. In this case, it's one of the latest ones. It's called Deep, which is kind of like a soulful, vintage voiced drum plugin. And basically from messing around with the plugin for a while, I actually, it sparked the inspiration for this little Instagram jam. Then I reached out to a fellow Irish musician, Conor. He's an amazing bass player and he laid down some synth bass for me on this track as well. Yeah, what I thought I'd do today is open up the Ableton session, show off Virtual Drummer Deep, and basically show you how I built up the rest of the track from there. So because UJAM did supply the Virtual Drummer Deep to check out, let's start with the drums. So this is what it looks like. It's basically a multi-sampled VST drum plugin with a focus on, late 60s, early 70s drum tones, and also the recording techniques from that time as well. Now, because this is more of a production breakdown video, I won't go into every single detail in the plugin, but at its core, Deep has 5 different drum kits and 6 different mix presets. Each of the different kit pieces has up to 60 different velocity layers, so you can actually program it to be incredibly realistic. So before I go over any more, let's just take a listen to it. Okay, so I programmed in a beat here. I'll bring up the MIDI just to show you what's going on. So I actually programmed this in using the piano roll. I was going for like a lazy hip hop groove, so I actually dragged the timing of the hi-hats back a little bit. Also messed around with the kick and the snare timings just to make it sound really kind of unquantized. Just kind of going for more realistic drum tones for this one. What's really cool about Deep is it actually has a load of pre-programmed drum grooves already. So just by holding down a key, you've got different grooves, which is really cool. If you liked one of those and you wanted to just start with a pre-programmed groove, you can actually just click and drag it into your session and you can kind of go from there. You can see on the drum track here in the group, I actually have very little post-processing going on, just the tiniest bit of saturation using the black box from Plugin Alliance, just because I like that on drums. And that's because the plugin itself is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. The character and the processing of the drums all come from these mix presets. So at the moment I have it set to the slam setting. Let's change it to the Lofi, dark, aged. Basically, we can control the amount of processing as well using this amount dial. So let's turn it all the way down. Let's turn it back to the slam setting for a sec. Let's turn this up. So you still have controls for the volume. Each kit piece has a decay and a tuning dial as well. And you can basically customize all the presets using the different kit pieces. So basically you have like very minimal but very powerful control over the plugin. It's very preset focused. So you just kind of mess around, experiment with different kit pieces, try and dial in something that you like, and you basically go from there. So let's take a listen to the drums on their own. All right, so kind of got inspired by that and I grabbed my guitar, plugged it into the Helix and started messing around with a few guitar tones, and I came up with this for the first part. Let me take off all these plugins and show you what it sounded like just coming straight from the Helix. So basically it was just a really simple, clean guitar tone with a bit of an auto filter on it. So you get a bit of a filter movement going on. And from there, I basically added some post-processing effects. So first up, I've got the little alt boy from Sound Toys. This is just blending in an octave below. Adding a bit of distortion as well with the drive. Basically, I was just going for like really weird out there guitar tones. So after that, I've got the RC20 from XLN Audio. This is just adding a tiny bit of pitch movement with the wobble, a bit of filtering, a bit of distortion using the tube pair, a bit of saturation there. After that, I've got a bit of EQ. This is actually dynamic EQ, just cutting out some of the harsh upper mid-range. And after that, I'm just using a lot of compression. Now, I normally wouldn't do this much compression, but it's just, you know, it's just really squishing the whole thing to give it a bit of character. And it also brings out the noise and the saturation and the octave that we had earlier in the chain. So what I like to do when I'm recording with the Helix is there's actually a buffered guitar through output on the back of the unit, which I always plug into input 2 on my interface. So I'm always capturing a clean DI of any guitar part that I record. So I also have this clean DI here. So let's just turn off these effects and show you what that sounds like. So I actually have this tuned up an octave using Ableton's warp algorithms. I always mess around with these when I'm recording something. Even if I don't end up using the DI for, you know, reamping purposes or whatever, I like experimenting with them and messing around. So this is what it sounded like straight from the DI. And here it is tuned up an octave. From here, I've got Little Altar Boy again. And that's tuning it down an octave again, kind of similar to what I did with the first part. It's adding a tiny bit of drive on the top end too. Bit of compression. A lot of compression. And what this does is it just really squishes everything to make it super flat. I'm also running it into a auto filter with the envelope turned up quite a bit. So it's just adding a bit of filter movement again. But turn down the frequency. And from here, I'm actually running it to some send effects, a little bit of room reverb with Valhalla Room, a tiny bit of space reverb with the Reason Rack plugin. I'm using the Synths Deep reverb, and also a bit of microshift from Sound Toys, just to give it a bit of stereo width. So yeah, let's just take a listen to that original guitar idea with the two, the DI and the original track layered together with the drums. Alright, so from here I layered a rhythm guitar. It sounds like this. So it's just a simple chord progression that I built around the melody idea. I added a tiny bit of LFO tool just to, you know, aid with the groove. Just makes it sound really bouncy. I have this sent to a little bit of a Juno chorus from the Arturia chorus, just add some stereo width. Now the LFO ducking kind of sounds a little bit extreme on its own, but with the drum groove it just makes it sound really, really bouncy. So let's listen to it with the drums. Alright, from here I just added a fuzz layer. So this is made up using a simple fuzz preset with the Line 6 Helix, which just doubles a harmony of the original melody idea. Again, using the DI, I just blended this in and tuned it down an octave in Ableton's warp clip settings here. So it's pretty quiet on its own. Let me turn it up. And I have this sent to some microshift as well, just for some stereo width. And then that blended in with the fuzz guitar, we've got this cool part. That is the harmony, so blend that in with the original melody idea. We got this. Adding the rhythm guitar just for some chords underneath it. So next up I've got this really simple clean guitar. It's just playing the root octave up and the fifth, just back and forth. As any producer or musician would know, once you start kind of building up a track like this, I love just throwing loads of different parts at it and seeing what sticks. So from here, I actually added some more clean guitars. So this was recorded using one of my Lofi presets on the Helix. I actually have a video showing how I built that up using the latest firmware update. So I'll link that above and in the description if you want to check that out. In the DAW, I actually added some reverb and again some microshift, and it sounds like this. Just makes it sound really lush. Let's just take a listen to all the guitars we have so far. So what I did is I bounced out a really rough demo and a rough mix of this, and I sent it over to Conor King, and he laid down some synth bass on this. Let's take a listen to what Conor sent over with the drums. From here, I actually duplicated Conor's take, added some multiband compression just to really even it out and to get rid of some of the clicks at the start of the notes here. And I've got a FabFilter Pro Q3 just to filter out all the low end and the high end. I did this because I wanted to add some like stereo width to the bass line, but without it getting really muddy in the low end. You never really add like stereo width to your subs and stuff. So duplicated the track, sent it to some microshift again and the Juno chorus to add some cool chorusy stereo width. And it sounds like this. And here it is blended with the original bass line. It's a really cool subby bass line. There's actually a lower octave blended in there as well, I think, on Conor's synth. And it just sounds really, really fat. So here it is with the drums. I also have this cool little bass fill. And this is from one of Conor's electric takes. Picked a little bit of it and reversed it, so it's got this cool like reverse bass transition effect. From here I actually added some rhythm guitars to kind of double up and play off Conor's bass line. So first of all, I double tracked some rhythm guitars. Just a nice crunchy neck pickup strat tone there. And now what I did from here, because I do it with everything, is I actually duplicated the track, the double tracks, and I tuned them down an octave using the complex warp algorithm in Ableton. Altogether, it actually sounds like a distorted double tracked electric bass almost. Alright, lastly, I've just added some synths just to fill out the whole track. I've got this Repro 5, which I absolutely love, from UJAM. Adding some chorus from Arturia and some radiator from Sound Toys just to add some saturation. I'm compressing it a lot using the Acme Opticom from Plugin Alliance. This is kind of more of a distortion, really, the way I'm using it. So here's just the synth. And here is with the effects. I've got a Diva from UJAM again. This is kind of set up to be like a Juno pad underneath everything. Again, just adding some Arturia chorus for proper Juno vibes. At the end of the phrase, when the chord changes, I added another repro, and this is just a nice kind of filtered saw, kind of the same processing really, some chorus, some saturation, and some RC20. This just kind of adds a transition at the end of the phrase. The RC20 is adding quite a lot. It's filtering it, it's adding some noise, some pitch wobble, and some saturation as well. So here it is without it. And here it is with it. So yeah, pretty cool. Just added some reverse reverby things and things like that. Some effects. Just to fill it all out, and basically we have the track. So let's build it up piece by piece and show you what we've got going on. Here's the drums. Drums and bass. Original guitar idea. The rhythm guitar. Fuzz harmony. Root and fifth. The clean chords. The bass line riff halfway through, and these other guitars that I didn't show you, but basically they're just octaves of the bass line riff. And then finally the synths underneath everything. Alright, right, so that was a quick look at how I produced this little Instagram jam clip that I put together. Thanks so much to UJAM for supplying Deep for me to check out. That kind of like sparked the inspiration for this whole track in the first place. So if you want to find out more about that, I'll have that linked in the description below. Big thanks to Conor as well for laying down the synth bass. I'll have him linked in the description below. And also his band Milk were really, really cool. You should check them out as well. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe and all that fun stuff. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Seán Murray Guitar as well. If you want to check me out over there, that'd be cool too. And yeah, thanks a million for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.